Ladies and gentlemen, up next on WBTV, special programming from WBTV West Bloomfield Schools. It's United We Walk 2008, the program and walk, recorded January 21st from West Bloomfield High School. United We Walk 2008, coming up next on WBTV.
Water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Ooh, wade in the water. My children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
I say to you today, my friends, that in spite of the recent difficulties and frustrations of the present, that I still have a dream that is deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up to live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. In honor of
search of brighter days. I ride through the maze of the madness. Struggle is my address with pain and crack lips. Gunshots coming from sounds of blackness. On my shoulder. It's a cold war. I'm a colder soldier. Hold the same fight that me Martin to the king. I ain't using it for the right thing. In between lean and the fiends, hustle and the schemes. I put together pieces of a dream. I still have one. I got a dream. We gonna work it out.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Thank you very much, African American Awareness Club step team, for that exciting step. And thank you, Laker Express, for singing the national anthem. Welcome, everyone, to the 14th Annual United We Walk celebration. Please remain standing for the singing of the Negro National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. Feel free to join along for the second verse of Lift Every Voice.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in thy path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land. true to our native land.
You may now be seated. Thank you, Soul Singers. Please enjoy the first segment of our State of the Dream interviews.
I'm Laura Grant, and I'm an art teacher. I think it's education. I think it's education and exposing people to other people, to tolerance, understanding. I think the trouble comes when people aren't exposed. It's ignorance.
My name is Hauk. I'm an assistant principal here at West Bloomfield High School. This is my third year as an AP here at the high school. I have participated in conversations with students from different backgrounds, different races, different religious backgrounds, and to see those barriers, those prejudices and those stereotypes kind of fall down as students talk to each other is pretty amazing. So to me, that's the big thing that we need to do and continue to do.
Sonia James, Principal of Orikri Lake Middle School. Educate ourselves as a community, and we continue to educate our children. We have made tremendous progress. While we have made progress, we cannot rest with the achievements that we have made thus far. We still have a lot of work to do and a long ways to go.
Hi, I'm Jody Salway. I'm here representing medical mentorship, West Bloomfield High School. I think that people are not afraid to be friends with, people of other races, and there's no segregation that I can see except within friends and their choices.
I am Bob Piles, the principal at West Bloomfield High School. There are times that I think we are in line. There are times that I look at things and say, geez, that is absolutely wonderful. And I look at things at West Bloomfield and I say, that's what it's about. But then there's times that I think that we really haven't come that far. And I think we still have a lot of work to do. And so I think we're in line at times, but I think we still have a long way to go.
I'm Michael Brodsky. I'm a senior, and I'm representing medical mentorship. I know that in this area especially, I don't know about every area, but at least the people I'm familiar with, there aren't ethnic or racial barriers. I've got friends, best friends, and friends who are, Muslim, Hindu, Christian, Jewish, black, white, Asian, God knows what. We don't differentiate between us. We're all take the same classes, we play the same sports, we have the same things in common. So, I feel like a lot of kids, at least that I know, all around here, and parents, everyone considers each other the same. So I think, yeah, we're doing, at least here, we're getting there, I feel like.
Good morning. My name is Becca Portney, and my co-chairs, Michelle Boyd and Chanel Jeter, would like to welcome you here today. To commence our celebration, we are honored to introduce our distinguished guests who are sitting in the audience. Please stand as you are introduced, and please hold your applause until the very end. Oakland County Commissioner Marsha Gershenson, Supervisor David Fleischer, Township Trustee Stuart Brickner, Township Trustee Deborah Macon, Township Trustee Robert Spector.
From our library board, we have Ken Macon. From Secretary of Parks and Recreation, we have Sheryl L. Mitchell. From West Bloomfield School District, we have Barbara DeMarco. We have Bruce Tobin, President. Jeffrey Stewart, Vice President. Beth Borson, Secretary.
David Ensendig, Treasury, West Bloomfield School Board. Melanie Torbert, Trustee, West Bloomfield School Board. Dr. Gary Faber, Superintendent, West Bloomfield Schools. Amy Peterman, President, Wall Lake School Board. George Heitch, Avondale Schools. Reverend Timothy Hoserland, Good Shepherd Lutheran. Reverend Brent Webster, West Bloomfield United Methodist. Reverend David Robertson, Orchard Lake Community Church. Reverend John Good, Covenant Baptist Church.
And we also have Reverend Einstein from the school board.
Thank you. We would like to remind everyone that today, Wes Berry from West Blueberry Flowers is giving away 5,000 roses by the dozen between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. There is one catch. Wes Berry would like everyone who gets a dozen roses to keep one for themselves and give away the other 11. This is an opportunity for people to express their support for equality and respect for their neighbors and friends who may be of a different race, religion, tradition, or lifestyle. Please stop by to take part of this community-wide project.
Our opening speakers this morning are Mr. David Fleischer, the supervisor of West Bloomfield Township, Dr. Gary Faber, the superintendent of West Bloomfield School District, and Janet Wasko, the principal of Allen Park High School.
Good morning. Welcome to West Bloomfield for United We Walk in recognition of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday and life. A program is planned which will be inspiring and encourage us to continue to improve relations between people of different races, religion, and ethnicity. If you're going for the walk, be sure to dress warmly and enjoy the day. Thank you for attending.
I'm going to give you all a very brief interview to see if you're qualified to be superintendent of schools. The question is, how many of you are bursting with pride for every one of the children that have performed this morning? If it's anything less, you're not eligible to apply for a superintendency anywhere. But if you truly possess that pride, apply wherever you can. You should be a superintendent. I welcome you this morning on behalf of the entire Board of Education and all of the employees and family of West Bloomfield Public Schools. We're so proud of this tradition, and we pray that it will continue for many years and grow with each year. Martin Luther King observed that time is neutral. Time alone changes nothing. It is people who make changes in time. I learned over the last few years that it's not enough to be a non-racist. One must be an anti-racist and be ready to speak and act with sincerity and passion to defeat racism. It is the person within each of us that will make a difference. It's not enough to be similar to time that simply passes by. You can no longer observe racism and think about it. It's time instead that racism must be recognized and confronted. Thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of our superintendent, Dr. John Sturrock, I bring warm greetings from the Allen Park School District. As many of you know, I left West Bloomfield 8 years ago to assume the position of principal of Allen Park High School. I was proud to take to my new downriver community the heritage of this great United We Walk program. The beauty of United We Walk is the bridges that we build among people of all ages, shapes, colors, and backgrounds in the greater West Bloomfield community, but also the connections we have made over the many years across the Tri-County area. Coming back to West Bloomfield is like coming home for me. And over these 8 years, I have brought hundreds of Allen Park staff members and students who have learned and grown so much through this celebration of diversity. For me, it's the youth that tell the tale of the state of the dream. And as I watch the youth who have connected through music, through drama, through leading the dialogues, through multi-school chats, Through walking and chanting together, I see miracles happen, eyes opened, and lives enriched. I can't thank you enough for allowing the Allen Park School District to be part of this fine tradition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I am pleased to introduce Timothy Orikri, a Nigerian artist who has been so inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King.
Thank you for letting me be part of this wonderful occasion. I'm a foreigner, you could tell from my voice and from my accent, but I'm not foreign to this struggle. This is such a very honorable, wonderful opportunity to propagate and to keep alive the dream of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. If you don't remember anything I said today, just remember the word peace, 3 P's. I mentioned this last night when I had a brief time to talk. There is a huge prospect, there is a huge promise in this struggle. There is a beauty in this wonderful pursuit for the freedom of liberation and for equality and to remove bigotry and injustice everywhere. Just as you pursue things in life, just as you pursue your dreams, there's something very unique you should remember. No matter how clumsy and difficult, and it may even be hostile, it may even be tremendously hard, there is a promise in every pursuit, but there is a pain. Nothing comes easy. I'm 42 years old, and when I was 31, I thought I sounded like a 13-year-old child. I called my father, he was a preacher, and I said, "Papa, it's rough in America." He laughed so hard that I started to cry, and I said, "You're making mockery of me, sir." He said, "No, son, everything that has a gain has a pain to it." Dr. Martin Luther King suffered. His dream is not yet successfully completed. But guess what? The state of the dream, the state of the dream. If the dream literally wasn't working, I wouldn't be standing here. So I'm grateful for that dream and for that sacrifice. What are you doing with the dream? It's not a job that is meant for the preachers, for the clergy, not something only for the superintendent and the principals and the singers or the artists. Yes, I've been inspired by him. You could go through the lobby, you'll see so much paintings I've done. I know they say that out of every tragedy comes some miracle and some blessings. Will you be ready to talk? Stevie Wonder once said, "You're going to scream, 'Let's go get it, let's go talk, let's go walk, let's go do this, let's stand for injustice.' But when we're getting ready to form a line, we don't see you. You let your voice be drowned, you don't want to talk. If anybody wants to get honey, they don't kick the beehive, right? Did you get it? I'll say it again. If you're going to get honey, you don't kick the beehive, do you? That's diplomacy. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. taught us how to be diplomatic, how to be peaceful, how to be purposeful, and how to have conviction. You can't sit there and think everything will just work. I wrote a song and I sang it yesterday. It was poorly performed. But part of the lyrics said that, how can a world so beautiful see a man of peace and passion and think he's harmful? How can a world so great see the struggle of inequality and injustice as something that, let's not think about that, let's look for that pursuit. Let's face fact. If you do nothing, nothing at all will happen. He said it right the other time, just now, about neutrality and time. We can't be neutral. To all of those who've listened to the dream and who know the struggle of the black people, to all of those who've listened to the dream and who know the struggle of the Hispanic and of the people who push racial discrimination, remember, if you sit down on the sideline, you're as worse as those people who are perpetrating the ills of this dream. We can't be neutral, we can't. I paint for a living. Yes, great. but I try to promote ideals and some things that will help society grow. You could write. We're living in a very global age. You get your iPhone, you're there in Japan or in the next part of the world. You could blog. Let's create conversation starters. Let's look for things that will help bridge this whole racial divide, this whole inequality. I've suffered too. I told them yesterday, if for every time I have faced inequality or racial segregatory comments or being treated as an African who is so primitive, if for every time I have to be given 25 cents, Uncle Sam will owe me about $1 million today. But you don't see that in the way I act and the way I feel, because I believe in the purpose of the dream. I believe in the promise of the dream. I believe that there's something great we will accomplish. It doesn't come by just one person. It's all of us and all of us and all of us. I'll leave you with a word before I get off the stage, because I could talk a lot. You don't need to kick the beehive if you want to get honey. Be nice and sweet. Diplomacy pays. My father told me, son, be very diplomatic if you go into America. And he says, if you're diplomatic, you could tell someone, you know, go do something strange and they'll be happy to do it. But you could promote peace. You could promote purpose. You could promote something wonderful that will help society and help us all. Nothing can happen without just you and you and you and you and you and you. I'm writing 6 books. One of them is a chapter in one of the books I'm writing. It says, I have a place in history. As long as I have fingerprints, I'm unique. And I'm wonderfully and carefully and greatly made. And nobody can take that place. Don't let anybody take your place in this struggle. Do something constructive. Do something purposeful. Because in this wonderful pursuit that is so gloomy, there is a promise. Though there may be pain, there is prospect. We can't let this dream die. We cannot let this dream die. History owes it to all of us. Our families, our friends around the world. This is a global struggle. This is not a struggle of the African Americans. This is not a struggle of the Jews. This is not a struggle of some. This is a struggle of all. What affects here affects everywhere. Do I have some time? I was walking through Rochester in December, and I saw glitz and lights. The place was pretty clean, and everywhere was all lit up. For someone from Africa, I said, whoa, this looks like paradise. For someone who've traveled, I'm like, oh, this looks like somewhere I saw in Amsterdam. This looks like somewhere I saw in Las Vegas. And that same night, I got my camera, and I got my phone. I was right downtown Detroit, in Cass. It was dark. I couldn't even wind my window. I couldn't even take the pictures I wanted to. I was afraid. Do you know something? This is the same society, the same culture. That's disparity. Isn't that part of the dream? Administrators and government officials that hear my voice, let's do something to create a balance. What affects those people downtown Detroit affects everybody around the world, if you do not know that. What affects your neighborhood affects this nation. This nation, just hold your applause, I don't have time, they will soon kick me out of the stage. This nation spends so much money and time to... Try to slipping down, I'm sorry. This nation spends so much money and time to create democracies all over the world. When there's a problem in Iraq, they're there. In Afghanistan, they're there. In all over the world. We all know that, right? This nation takes a leading role. She's great. She also went to Africa, and she helped me too, and I'm grateful. But something needs to be done, though. She needs to learn to love. She needs to lead. Martin Luther King wanted us to do that. He wanted us to stand firm, but love each other. We should quit being afraid of each other. Take away our colors. If you spill your blood and look at it all, I'm sure the chemists will tell you the genetic formation is all the same. Why are we afraid of each other? Because of dominance and because of supremacy? Let's face it. That chunk of diamond that our wives and our girlfriends and our friends wear went through a lot of hardship to get it shaped. So this dream needs that hardship too. Remember that. There is a pain. There is a pleasure to gain. But there is a promise and there's prospect. There's not enough time. Let's face this with a lot of urgency. Let's look into our soul and erase every form of discrimination we've ever come across. Let's face it. We can do so much more for humanity. How can a world so beautiful see a man of peace and compassion so harmful? Yes, it happened all in time, even in the Bible. The man called Jesus Christ was crucified by his own, right? And was betrayed by his own. So they will still betray you, but come on, 4 John. When they saw the dreamer come, they said, here comes the dreamer, let's kill him. His own brothers wanted to kill him. So they could do the same to you. They did it to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. But the dream lives on. If you sit down and let your voice be squashed, you can't leave it to be like this. I came to America and I was disappointed. Someone paid me tuition to go to college for a master's degree. And I was in college and my professor says to me one day, Mr. Orikri, Timothy, leave your primitivism outside. I was paid to go to school for free, right? They gave me $30,000 in St. Louis, Missouri. That was the last day I went to school. Nobody sits and crutch my dignity. I called my father. I said, Papa, I just lost a tuition to school. He says, no, son, conviction. You'll get much better. I've traveled a lot of places in America. I've seen so much stuff. Let's be convinced. Even if you're going to do this struggle, don't lose sight of the promise and of the beauty and of the prospect from this dream. I've lost a lot of jobs. I've lost a lot of contracts, but I'm still living. I've not begged anybody for money. I'm not proud and arrogant what I'm trying to say. But because I'm convinced that I was born and I'm fully and fearfully and wonderfully made, I should celebrate my unique wonderfulness. I'm so in love with me. If we do that, so in love with ourselves, then we could love other people too, right? You don't give what you don't have. You don't. People come to me for counsel, and they tell me about the things that they don't have being given to them, and they tell me about the things they cannot do. And I said, if you don't have it, then don't even bother giving it. Let's understand that we have something to give. If you face problems of any kind, if you face pain of any kind, remember, there's pleasure waiting ahead. The state of the dream is really wonderful, but there's so much needs to be done. 3 P's. For every pain, there is a prospect, there is a promise, there is a purpose. And you too could be as vocal and as loud as Dr. King, in a small, nice way, but be diplomatic about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Orikri. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Reverend Jonathan Sams, who worked with Martin Luther King Jr. during the Freedom Summer of 1966.
I think it was a colleague of mine, I don't remember exactly who, but I remember it was an African-American woman who told me a story about an experience she had teaching in an inner-city school. It happened that she was married to a white man. A detail that she neglected to mention to the members of her class, who all were black children. Well, one day her husband came to visit her at school. And after he had left, she noticed that the kids in her class were all excited and all whispering and talking to each other, this and that. So she approached one of the groups. She said, what's all the excitement about? And one of the little boys said, well, it's about your husband. And she said, well, what's that? And he said, well, he's white. And when the other little girl said, you shouldn't say that about him, he can't help it. Like it was a handicap, kind of like being bald. Those are like, he can't help that. Give the man a break, you know. Well, when I began following Dr. King around in Chicago in 1966, I was a brand new Episcopal priest, but I had already learned something pretty significant, and that is it can be dangerous to be white. It can be dangerous because white people, particularly white men, control a disproportionate amount of the wealth and power in the world. It can be dangerous because it was white European people like me who sailed around the world colonizing people, extracting wealth from their lands, and enslaving them. Oh, excuse me, I used the wrong terms. When my white ancestors came to North America, they didn't seize the land and drive out the native people. They discovered it. You get the distinction? I knew in 1966 that Native Americans did not sail over to England, seize control of Westminster Abbey and Buckingham Palace and say, oh, we discovered these. So I knew it could be dangerous to be white. And I knew that as far as the world goes, we're the minority. Now you might be thinking, well, he's sort of overstating the case. You know, white people have done all kinds of good things. And of course that's true. But the good things, whether you're talking about scientific achievements or educational achievements, discoveries, humanitarian efforts, emancipations, liberations, or any of those things have absolutely nothing to do with race. They all have to do with being a human being. Those are all gifts from God that are meant for the benefit of all people, whoever they might be. Dr. King taught me that. Dr. King taught me that there is a place in the future for all people, even bald-headed white guys. Our history does not condemn us to destruction any more than it entitles us to a privileged place in the world. That is true not because we are innocent, but because we are forgiven. All of us, whoever we are. It applies to you too. There's a place for you in the future. And that is by virtue of our common humanity. Now, what kind of future is that? Well, according to Dr. King, it's a future where wealth is shared, power is dispersed, conflict is negotiated, differences are respected, and no one suffers alone. Is that a reality you want to be a part of? I do. Has it come to be in its fullness yet? Of course not. But Dr. King taught us that the place to begin is always now, which we can do right here and right now in this place. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Sams. Last year, we had the pleasure of viewing Mosaic Youth Theater's presentation, Speak Out. This year, West Bloomfield and Allen Park schools have teamed up with Illuminart Productions to present a modified version of Illuminart's piece, Project Trust. This production focuses on issues of diversity to communities today. Many of the stories are based on true stories and were developed by high school students. Please join us in welcoming Patty Cerez and introducing What Goes Around.
Thank you. It's great to be here this morning. As she said, my name is Patty Cerez, and I'm the producing artistic director of Illuminart Productions. And we create the program Project Trust, which comes from Illusion Theater of Minneapolis, Minnesota. The word trust is an acronym for teaching, reaching, using students, and theater. The show, of course, is about diversity. And these scenes are coming from two of our shows, which is called What Goes Around and Peace Up. What Goes Around is for grades 6th grade and up, and the other show is for elementary students, 3rd through 5th grade. And the plays are a full play, and they are a community program that we can bring to your school, and a full cast will be ready to do that in the fall. If your school or your community center wants to do the full play, they can contact me. Today there are 9 students, 7 from West Bloomfield and 2 from Allen Park High School performing for you, and they are Matt Howell, Candace Choi, Kari Kassad, Marlita Gamble, Chelsea Cage, Victoria Pasha, Lisa Kotler, and Brandon Van Houten and Holly Nick. Our narrators are Allie White and your fine gal right here, Michelle Boyd. And here is our presentation.
What do you see?
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 What do you see? What do you see?
What do you see?
What do you see?
What do you see when you look at me?
A dog blonde.
A stoner. A dork. A jock.
Ghetto. A freak.
Look closer.
I was 12, and I just moved into a new neighborhood. But these teenage guys walk by, and they yell out their window, "Hey, nigger!" No one had ever called me that before.
I was 13. I would only eat grapefruit for lunch. I was terrified of being fat and afraid that my dance teacher would make fun of me in class.
When I was in middle school, I was in choir and plays. Kids would call me gay and theater fag. I never understood what the two had to do with each other.
It always bothered me how people would assume I was a prep or a snob or really rich because I'm Jewish. Sometimes I hear whispers of kids saying, "You can tell by the size of her nose. She's Jewish."
What do you see when you look at me?
A kid, a brain,
An egomaniac, a dreamer,
someone who doesn't care.
Look closer.
From the time I started school, there were certain expectations of me. Because I'm Asian, I'm supposed to get good grades. I felt so much pressure that I almost failed.
When I was 14, I didn't have many friends. It seemed like everyone had leather coats. My family couldn't afford one. The day after September 11th, my middle school was shut down because some kids made threats against Arabs. They blamed us even though we couldn't have possibly had anything to do with it.
What do you see when you look at me? Look closer. I am more than what you think I am.
Hi, my name is Allie White and this is Michelle Boyd. The students from the AAA Club and International Club are going to perform scenes from Peace Up and What Goes Around for you today. The original plays are part of Project Trust, teaching, reaching, using students in theater, and come from Illusion Theater of Minneapolis, Minnesota. The scenes are about preventing violence, challenging racism and sexism, talking about differences, and celebrating the diversity in your school and community. The material is a bit edgy and has helped to make us all think. The first scene is about how to handle conflict.
Let's see what happens when the bell rings.
Back off! Quit pushing! You pushed me! I didn't push you! You did too! Didn't I, you camel?
Who are you calling a camel, girl?
Off me! You guys, stop! Stop! What's going on?
Val, stay out of this.
Mind your own business.
it's my business, okay? You're both my friends.
You're friends with this Arab?
Yeah, I am. And stop the name calling.
It was a joke. These people can't take a joke.
These people? A joke?
Now stop it, guys, stop it. First, let's try talking to each other and not at each other. Okay, breathe. Why don't you ask Biden why?
Yeah, that.
I statements, remember?
I don't like anyone stepping on my shoes. Anytime, anywhere, any place, and I don't like being called a camel.
Hey, Bree, now your turn.
I don't like people crowding my space and pushing me.
Okay, did you just hear what each other just said? Yeah. Okay, guys, this has to stop. This is what's Bloomfield. We all have to live here. Look, you're Jewish, she's Chaldean and Catholic. Whoa, big difference. I'm black and Muslim. Do you have a problem with me?
No. It was crowded. The bell rang. We were all trying to get out at the same time. I didn't even know I got stuck in your shoes. I didn't mean to push you.
Okay, now what?
I was upset when I got pushed. Sorry. Me too.
Okay, we just cool it now?
Racial, ethnic, and general name calling is very hurtful and only serves to escalate anger. Conflict resolution is a way to solve problems without fighting. Some schools have trained student mediators who help two sides work out a solution by talking. Conflict resolution sets up ways to resolve differences. There's no name calling, you speak in I statements. There's time to listen to each other. Instead of trying to say anyone is wrong or right, it's a way to find a solution. Some schools have peer mediator programs. Sometimes we can feel the first response to conflict is a fight. But when people fight, they can get physically hurt, and they can get suspended from school or police may be called.
One of the most prevalent places bullying and racist name-calling takes place is on the school bus. We have all seen the news stories pertaining to the problem. Let's watch a scene that might occur on the bus.
Hey, Pete, there's a seat back here.
Yeah, right here. Do you have a problem with me?
No.
What are you looking at?
Nothing.
Where'd you get your clothes? Salvation Army? And who told you could sit here anyways? Rosa Parks?
No, my mom bought them for me, and I can sit where I want.
Do you ever comb your hair? I mean, how come it's so nappy?
Hey, Petey, how's it going?
Are you scared of us? Come on, sit back.
Heard you failed that chem test.
You're gonna have to repeat the 8th grade.
What's your name, anyways?
Georgina.
Cool name. Not.
Leave me alone.
She is such a loser. Loser, loser, double loser. Here, do it with me. Ready? Loser, loser, double loser. Whatever, fly away forever. He doesn't talk, does he?
Maybe he's too stupid to talk.
You dummy.
Are you stupid?
Oh, what's wrong?
Are you gonna cry?
Let's watch and see how the students respond to the harassment.
I felt like there was nothing I could do. I felt paralyzed. Those kids that teased me, they felt like that was the easiest target, so they chose me.
I felt powerless, and my friends stopped being my friends.
I like the attention I got when I teased Georgina, but then I got in trouble for it. I felt if I didn't go along with Amber, she'd be mean to me, so I laughed. But I liked Georgina, and I felt bad about laughing.
I finally told my parents about what happened on the bus, and they called the school. Those kids that teased me, they got suspended and weren't allowed to ride the bus anymore.
I couldn't believe that I got suspended over something like this. Harassing Pete was no big deal. Now my parents are mad and being extra strict because they have to drive me to school every day.
I was shocked that Pete was so angry that he would hit me. But I kind of know what that anger feels like, because most of the time I'm mad at the world and I take it out on other people.
Becky finally talked to me. She said she was sorry that she went along with Amber. She was scared too.
We decided to go to Amber and talk to her about it.
She said she was sorry, but I'm not sure I believe her. But at least Becky took me on the bus and Amber leaves me alone.
It's very hard to stand up to a bully when you think that you might be the next target. It's much easier to just stand by and just go along, which doesn't solve anything. In fact, the bully counts on it. If you don't think you can work it out yourself, it can help to go to an adult you trust to talk about it.
Sally and Tricia are good friends, but they had some difficulty on a vacation this summer. Let's see what happened.
This summer, Tricia came on vacation with us up to the lake. We were goofing around on the beach, catching some rays.
Then this neighbor Sally comes up to us and starts talking about how hot it was.
And then she goes up to Tricia and says, "The heat doesn't bother your people, does it?"
Then she wondered why I was laying out in the sun.
You don't tan, do you?
I was speechless,
which was a first.
I knew she didn't know she was saying racist things, but it still hurt.
Can you believe how ignorant that woman was?
Sally was great. She really stuck up for me. We didn't say much to the neighbor, but we told Sally's mom. She said she would talk to the woman so she wouldn't keep making the same mistake. Well, I'm glad we told someone, and talking about it made me feel a lot better.
You see, we respect each other. We respect how we're all different, and we feel lucky to know each other.
It's true that we won't be friends with everyone, but it's better for everyone when we can.
Respect others for who they are.
And not think everyone has to be just like us.
Apologize to people when they hurt your feelings.
Speak up when our feelings are hurt. And not use put-downs or violence.
There are lots of things we can do to express ourselves without being violent.
I want there to be less fighting.
I can learn to resolve arguments without fighting.
I want you to stop the name calling.
I can listen when someone doesn't like how I'm talking to them.
I want to feel safe at home.
I can talk to my counselor to start a support group for kids worried about violence at home.
I want you to stop murmuring. I can make positive choices with dealing with my anger.
I want to be able to ride the bus without being teased or picked on.
I can talk to an adult if I feel unsafe.
I want to make new friends.
I can treat others the way I want to be treated, like a friend.
Stereotypes occur when we do not acknowledge of others who are different from us. Our actors will explain.
I walked through the malls of Somerset, and I watched as if I'm going to steal something. They suspect me just because I'm black.
I didn't know anyone like her where I grew up.
If I speak my native language at school, the English-speaking students think I'm saying something bad about them.
If they want to live here, why don't they just speak English?
I have very strong opinions, but when you try to stand up for what you believe in, or push for the same rights as men, or even talk about the violence that some men commit against women, you're accused of being a male hater.
One of those.
Look at her in that expensive cell phone. I mean, she's so rich. She has a big house. Look at me. Just because I wear black and funky jewelry, I must get bad grades and do pot after school.
They, the neighborhood.
I have a class with one.
Just because I'm Jewish and some of my friends have money doesn't mean I do. It's not fair.
No, she doesn't look it, but I hear she's one.
Yeah, that's right. I'm one. You know what I'm talking about?
Did you hear she's one?
Just because I'm Chaldean, they think I have 50 cousins, we own a liquor store, and we're terrorists. Just like them.
Look closer. A freak.
Look closer. A jock.
Look closer. A ditz.
Look closer.
A slacker.
Look closer.
A brain. Look closer.
I am more than what you think I am.
The word is xenophobia. It means the fear or hatred of people who are different. People of a different color, sexual orientation, language, class, age, physical ability, education, accent, religion, or sex.
Than you!
A stereotype is an idea about a group, which is often untrue or only partly true. Generalizing people in one particular group creates barriers. We are more alike than we are different.
The Metro Detroit area has a large African American population and has the largest Arab population outside of the Middle East. Many are Muslim, 77% are Christian. All Chaldeans are Catholic and came from Iraq. They were persecuted because of religious beliefs, like the Jews who came from Europe at the turn of the century.
Preventing conflict, violence, stereotyping, name-calling, racial slurs, and bullying takes an effort from all of us. Promoting understanding and peaceful discussions, looking beyond someone's looks or clothes or where they're from, is important for all of us to help create a better world.
Most importantly, we need to make it clear about what we want.
I want you to stop. Break!
I want you to stop calling me easy.
Cheap. Slut. Lose. I want you to find how that makes me feel.
I want you to stop spreading
Lies! I want you to stop saying all black women as hoes.
All Jewish women as Jewish princesses.
all white women as privileged bitches.
All Asian women as China dolls.
I want you to stop expressing your violence through
violence. I want you to stop acting like you own me.
Just because I care doesn't mean you can hit me.
I want you to stop blaming
your mom,
your dad,
me
for your business.
I want you to think about HIV,
fatherhood,
what I want before you take your pants down.
I want you to respect me.
I want you to give back the knife so I can walk under the night sky and not be afraid of you.
I want you to stop ganging up on us.
I want you to stop thinking every man is violent.
I want you to stop thinking every man is a rapist.
I want you to stop pinching butt,
grabbing crotch,
talking trash in the halls, on the street, on the phone.
I want you to give me, I don't want you to see all black men as drug dealers.
All Arab men as terrorists.
All Jewish men as cheap.
All Asian men as the same.
All white men as the problem.
I want you to stop making me what you want me to be.
I can't be everything to you.
Friend,
father,
lover,
meal ticket. I want you to give me credit for expressing my feelings.
I don't want you to play victim.
I want you to use your voice.
You're smart.
Your power.
I don't want you to get pregnant to get me.
I want you to respect me when I say no.
I don't want you to judge me by how I look.
I want you to tell me if I've done something wrong and not talk about me behind my back.
I want you to trust me. I want you to respect me.
I want you to accept me.
I want you to see my beauty and yours. I want adults to stop calling us
young,
naive,
stupid,
minority,
inferior.
I want you to stop putting us
down. We know more than you think we know.
And we care about what's going on.
I want you to acknowledge me when I walk down the street.
I want your encouragement.
I want your attention.
I want you to stop saying you're too busy.
Make time for us.
I can stop teaching hatred.
Stop being homophobic.
Stop being racist.
I want to stop studying
war.
I want to study peace.
How it's made.
How it's taxed.
I want your wisdom.
I want to learn from your experiences.
I want you to remember that there's only one Earth.
We want to keep it safe and clean for our children.
I want you to believe in our dreams.
I want you to know that we can make a different world than the one you gave us. I want to take back the night and walk under the sky and not be afraid.
I want to take back the night.
I want to take back the night. I want to take back the night. I
want to take back the night so I can walk under the sky and not be afraid. I wonder, what do you see when you look at me?
Look closer. I'm Kari. I come from a long lineage of Zoroastrians. I'm a board member of International Club at West Bloomfield High School, and I love to sing and act.
Look closer. I'm Chelsea Gage. I'm Black and part Native American. I love to play volleyball, and I have an older brother.
Look closer. I'm Marlita Gamble, and I love to dance. I'm part of the AAA Step Club and yeah. And I like to write poems.
Look closer. I'm Lisa. I'm Jewish. I like to read, and I really like to draw.
Look closer. I'm Brandon. I'm from Allen Park. I like to sing. I'm gay. Would you know from looking at me?
Look closer. I'm Matt Howard. My ancestors are from Sweden. I snowboard and I play hacky sack.
Look closer. I'm Victoria. I am African American and Puerto Rican. I like to draw, and I'm a part of the AAA Step Team.
Look closer. My name is Holly. I'm from Allen Park. I'm a cheerleader and I want to be a math teacher.
Look closer. I'm Candace Choi. I am 100% Korean American, but I'm in love with the French language. And I like food. I'm anti-bird.
Look closer. I'm Michelle Boyd. I'm a European mutt, and I love history, politics, and I want to be an archaeologist.
Look closer. I'm Allie White. I'm Jewish, but I'm blonde. I'm in the West Bloomfield High School drama department, and I was in Project Trust with Michelle our freshman year.
When we take time to look closer, we start to appreciate all the differences in our community. This has been our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, students, for your inspiring presentations. Now please enjoy segment 2 of our State of the Dream video clips.
My name is Geeta Nair, and I'm a parent. Well, personally, I can say that I'm of Asian Indian origin, and having come into this country, I never at any point in time ever felt overwhelmed by the fact that I looked different, spoke differently. I was very easily accepted into the community, and you know, I enjoy a very free life here. I can exercise my rights, and you know, although I do miss my motherland a lot, yet I have become part of the mainstream of this country. And that is something which is to be, you know, which is something that we have to take pride in because of the easy acceptability in this country.
Hi, I'm John Reed, and I'm Katie Reed's dad, and she's a junior at West Bloomfield High School. The reason we're getting closer and closer to being in line, I think a lot of it has to do with the youth of today. My daughter and their friends, they're so far ahead of where we were when we were in high school with getting things to progress towards the dream that, yeah, I think we are starting to get in line, and I think the youth have a lot to do with that, probably more than the adults.
My name is Victoria Sturt, and I'm a science teacher here at West Bloomfield High School. Here at West Bloomfield, even if there are some racial tensions, all of our students here live with an understanding and an expectation of pluralism. That there are people who have different lives and different standards, and that that's perfectly acceptable. And it makes us and our culture more diverse, more varied, and more valuable.
Hi, I'm Carl Fornell, I'm a science teacher at the high school. I've been here 31 years. I think that the majority of the population is very, very accepting of other cultures and ethnicities. I've been here for 31 years. I've seen a lot of changes. Everyone isn't probably following the program. You see all these incidents of racial hatred and ethnic hatred. But I would say that they're far and few between compared to what they were like 30 years ago.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Ismail. I'm a science teacher at West Bloomfield High School. I believe that really just that whole idea of embracing cultures and getting to know different cultures, people talking about how they're different and being okay with that, and being confident with who they are, and not just saying, I'm an American. I think that it really is important to say, yes, I'm an American, but here what my roots are, and people appreciating that. And I think that that's the whole idea of the big melting pot and not losing that. I think I come from culture, I'm Chaldean, and I don't want to lose my heritage. Yes, I'm American, but I think that's what America is embracing all those different cultures and not just saying, I'm American and I live here, but I'm American and I can bring this to the country.
My name is Mr. Hamka, and I am a mathematics teacher at West Bloomfield High School. The state of the dream. I think overall we're in a better situation. When I went to school, when I was in high school, not too many years ago, maybe 8 years ago, there weren't that many cities, many districts for that matter, that honored Martin Luther King Day, that gave their students the day off, that had commemorations that we're having today. So I think we are advancing as a society. I think there's still steps and bounds to be made. Many people are still very ignorant and act very arrogantly. They're not too open to people of different cultures and different religions and different races. And I think we need to continue to make those advancements. I remember when I was in high school, there wasn't much talk about Martin Luther King Day. There wasn't much talk about diversity, and I think things are really changing, and changing for the better.
Hi, my name is Sheryl Boyd, and I'm a senior here at West Bloomfield High School. I think the barriers that still exist today are the ones that we've created ourselves. Like, if you look at the cafeteria, it's still segregated. If you look at the workplace, I mean, we've done all the votes, we've done all the marches, we've reeled that on our lives, and how our society is going to change, like how we have to look at ourselves and change on what we think of diversity, what's accepted, what's integration. Our schools are integrated, and now we just need to go back and integrate the cliques and the academic groups and the clubs. And once we have that, if that's possible, and hopefully it is, then we'll have the true I have a dream.
And now, please join me in welcoming the joint choir of West Bloomfield, Avondale, and Allen Park High Schools, along with West Bloomfield alumni from the WBHS Gospel Choir. They will be singing It Takes a Village. The choir is accompanied by the Gratitude Steel Band and is under the direction of West Bloomfield Choir Director, Sheryl Hauk.
It takes a whole village to raise our children. It takes a whole village to raise one child. We all, everyone, must share the burden. We all, everyone, must share the joy.
Everyone
us as we walk together to honor Dr. King in the Civil Rights Movement. Following the walk, there will be a complimentary lunch offered in the school cafeteria. The lunch will be followed by a facilitated adult and student dialogue in the Media Center, which anyone is welcome to attend. Now, let's welcome back the combined choir under the direction of the Avondale Choir Director, Kevin Cornwell, as they sing The Power of the Dream, accompanied by the Allen Park Jazz Band.
That lights the fire of our imagination. And since the dawn of man, the strength that just I can has brought together people of our nation. Nothing ordinary in the baby that we share. There's a special part everyone must have. beside her, whispering her love and the way it leaves them, lying in the long grass in the sunlight. They believe it's true love, and from all around them, Laura a secret, telling them of love and the way it breathes them, looking up from eyes of Amarana. They can see the sky is blue, knowing that their love is true. Dreams they never knew, and the sky above is Never close your eyes, never stop and listen, never feel alive, and you're nothing missing. You don't need a reason, let the day go on and on. Let the rain fall down everywhere around you, give into it now, let the day surround you. You don't need a reason, let the rain go on and on. One by one, my needs
proclamation was made by President Ronald Reagan, marking the first observance of the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as a national holiday. He called it a time for rejoicing and reflecting, helping us to move closer to the ideals on which America was founded. Today, we honor Dr. King with speeches and monuments as he challenged Americans of every race and creed and color to work together to build in this blessed land a shining city of brotherhood, justice, and harmony. This is the monument Dr. King would have wanted most of all.
During the 1993-94 school year, a diverse group of parents whose children attended Orchard Lake Middle School met to discuss a variety of issues and ideas. This Multicultural Awareness Committee was endorsed by Esther Peterson, principal of the school.
The Multicultural Committee wanted to make a difference in the community. This was an active group. They wanted the community to have an appreciation for diversity. Therefore, I encourage them to go to the school board and state the reasons why this would bring our whole community together.
Several concerned parents, with the support of the entire group, went before the West Bloomfield Board of Education and requested that the school district close in honor of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Good evening, boards, members of the board, Dr. Grechko. I am Diane Ferguson. I am here this evening to read a letter to you from the Orchard Lake Middle School Multicultural Awareness Committee.
Well, the letter itself was very concise. After all, this was already a national holiday, and I wanted the board to understand the urgency of our request. And I also wanted them to remember that they, as well as the rest of the citizens in West Bloomfield, had benefited from Dr. King's works, what he had lived for, what he had died for. So it was time for us to stop and pay homage to someone who has done so much for so many in such a short period of time.
When Diane Ferguson and I went before the West Bloomfield School Board 10 years ago, neither of us really knew what to expect. Personally, I was a little afraid that we might meet with some ambivalence, but after a short discussion, a few questions and answers, every one of those school board members stepped up to the plate and they did what was right. It was a proud day for all of us.
It's been moved and supported that Martin Luther King Day be a day of observance and that observance be characterized by non-attendance of both students and staff. Do I understand the motion correctly, Mr. Tobin? Correct. Is there all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0 with Mrs. Lipton absent.
President of the West Bloomfield School Board, Jeffrey Stewart, reacted to the proposal.
I remember at the time when we heard about the idea of dedicating a day to Martin Luther King that this is a good idea. What I didn't appreciate then was how big an idea it would become. I think unconsciously I thought this will be a day for minorities in our community to celebrate a great civil rights hero. And what it quickly became was a day for all of us to celebrate a great American hero who had taught us values of tolerance and acceptance and forgiveness that transcend race. That, to me, has been the great development of Martin Luther King Day. That it started as one thing and has grown into something so much bigger.
And bigger it was. As the group's commitment deepened, Hertha Woodruff felt the need to suggest they orchestrate a community-wide event.
The timing was perfect to launch a multicultural event in West Bloomfield, Michigan. We were very diverse. In fact, we still are. I propose that at the first Martin Luther King Day off, a community walk that would be both harmonious and inclusive of everyone.
And Dr. Grechko, as superintendent, I remember sat at the table and smiled to himself, really. And this was right. It is time. We should take a position. We should be leaders. And under his leadership, United We Walk was started.
Holly Friend also endorsed the idea of a community-wide event.
Well, I remember that day exactly. I had to call Dr. Grechko, and I know that this event was going to entail a walk down Orchard Lake, perhaps a day off school, and quite a few other things. And when I called, I got this great response. Sure, I think that'd be a great idea. And Dr. Grechko, I think in the spirit of Dr. King and in the spirit of the community, said, great, let's go.
Sharkey Haddad suggested that clergy become involved as well.
And I thought that if we reach out to the West Bloomfield clergy, that not only we will get them involved in the walk, but also their followers in their congregations will look at them as role models, and they will also be encouraged to participate in the walk.
Having grown up in the time that Dr. King was alive, and feeling that it was important that that be remembered, and bringing that to a new generation as well, I think that's why we all were involved and why it was so important to get it started in that way.
Haddad also originated the name for the event.
I was involved with the Ross Perot campaign for the United States presidency, and his theme was United We Stand. So I figured if we come up with a name such as United We Walk, it will send a double message in the greater West Bloomfield area.
Kenyelle Ferguson and Crystal Robertson came up with the winning logo.
What Kenyelle had in mind when designing the logo for United We Walk was something simple, as well as something that symbolized an unbroken circle of unity and brotherhood in the community.
Well, I had 4 school-age children in the district. I was on a multicultural committee, and I felt that it was my duty to help. The buttons, I'm in the promotional products business, and being on the committee, they said, well, can you get us some buttons? Of course I did.
A memorable thing to do for all the things that he lived and died for.
Events of this magnitude depend extensively on the support of the community. School board member and general co-chair Beth Borson contacted area businesses for their support.
The response was extremely positive. We were fortunate that we have a strong community ties. Town Hall was very helpful under Juddy Hood's support. The clergy came on board, and local businesses also. I'm involved in real estate, and my company became involved as well as others.
The Optimist Club of West Bloomfield was an early sponsor of United We Walk because the United We Walk exemplifies the ideals of Dr. Martin Luther King and shows that our community cares about those ideals.
Well, we were really fortunate to be asked to be one of the sponsors, and we helped get out publicity regarding the new event in our community. And now we've been fortunate that we're working from the viewpoint that we're maintaining the website to keep it up to date.
Borson was also responsible for the official banner that has become so recognized in association with United We Walk. Probably one of the most complicated responsibilities of the Walk Committee was coordinating procedures and logistics for the 30-minute walk down Orchard Lake Road from Orchard Lake Middle School to West Bloomfield High School.
Particularly the first event entailed getting permits from Oakland County in order to close Orchard Lake Road and just for the permit itself for that number of people, which was about 1,000 people that we had the first walk. It took about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, I believe, for us to walk down there, and it was a little bit of an inconvenience. Obviously, Orchard Lake Road is a busy street, but I think everybody was in good spirits. Rerouting traffic. It was an effort through the community, the schools, and the police department that was tremendously successful, I thought.
And General Motors donated vans to
to United We Walk because what we had to do, the walk started at Orchard Lake Middle School and went to the high school. My wife had been diagnosed with breast cancer the year before, in 1993. And she was just ending her initial treatment and some of the chemotherapy when Hertha Woodruff came to her and asked her to serve on the United We Walk, the walk committee itself. And I have to say that was probably one of the best things that happened to her. She had been through her treatment, and even though she was still weak, she really took this project on with vigor, like I'd never seen her do anything else.
Even at the elementary level, kids got involved.
I recall the first United We Walk as a joining together of students and staff, parents and community to honor the memory of a man that truly changed the face of America. My fondest memory is of the all-elementary choir singing a tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King before an auditorium overflowing with people. There truly wasn't a dry eye in the house.
Well, we had made a decision to do some parent education, and we had parents coming in and discussing and telling us about their culture. So that's one way that we started.
Well, inherent to the philosophy of the International Club, students pledged to commit their time and effort to learning about various cultural and ethnic groups within our community. So what the students did in this club is they promoted the event within the school and tried to motivate students to join the event, come to the walk, participate in the day's activity, so that they would have a better understanding of Martin Luther King, his goals and ideals, and what he stood for.
As an International Club member, Michael Schoenberger describes the impact that United We Walk has had on his life.
And about heroes, and everyone who comes to this event, everyone who thinks that it's important is inspired, by Dr. King, and what's more, by people who do this event.
Many students were selected as walk monitors to help with the event.
And in our community, we're very fortunate that our students and our families believe in giving back. So anytime we have a program or an occasion, all we need to do is go to the clubs and the organization and invite students to be a part of. Little did we know at that time that we're inviting students to be a part of a historical moment in the West Bloomfield School District. So it was a matter of going to National Honor Society, going to the athletic team, going to the other clubs and organization, and seeing who wanted to raise their hand to be a part of this opportunity to really be ambassadors for our school as we saw them at the time, because we didn't know the magnitude which this program was going to take for the day. The community an opportunity to see our students in a different light once they came into the building that looked so massive off of Orchard Lake Road.
About 30 minutes before the walk began, I think I was dropped off at my walk monitor's location, kind of at the corner of the high school in Orchard Lake. I just remember waiting and not seeing any people, and you knew there were people at Orchard Lake Middle, but you started seeing people come over the hill and more people come over the hill, and it was just amazing people were all the way up at the high school and can still see people walking over the hill. A ton of people showed up at the end, and just seeing all those people walking for the one event for the first time that it ever happened, it was really an exciting time and really an exciting event.
Well, Prince of Peace was given the task of walking at the end of the walk. Our parishioners, we carried some garbage bags and some picker-uppers, and we were supposed to pick the styrofoam cups up that people might accidentally drop along their way from the middle school to the high school. But as it turned out, people didn't drop their things along the side of the road. I think probably we took that job. Maybe we heard someplace along the line that the last shall be first.